Hey, everybody. So good to see you. Hi, hi. Hi, Alicia. Hi, Mary Kay. I'm doing random highs. Hi, Anita.
Hello.
Hey, hopefully you got my email this morning that I left the decorative paper off of the supply list. And if you have a craft knife, that will be helpful too.
Okay.
I'm going to show you working with scissors as well, but a craft knife might be easier for cutting out your letters. And I'm going to wait 2 minutes to get started. I always do this on Zoom so that, because people tend to arrive for about 2 minutes. And then we'll get started. And I'm going to talk for 10 to 15 minutes about the paper year. And then we'll dive into the project. And Lori is assisting me, and she just dropped a couple of links in the chat, and I'll refer to most of those. And I will send everybody the recording with those links, so you don't have to worry about it. But if you want to copy those links, you can. Um, Great to see everybody. And let's see. Just going to wait one more minute. If you're just popping on, I recommend grabbing a craft knife. I'll show you working with scissors as well, but you might like working with a craft knife. And then if you didn't see my other email this morning, I forgot to put, so can you see my hands here? No, I'm spotlighted, right? But the decorative paper that you're going to slip into these little pockets that we make was not on the original supply list. So I sent an email about that. And okay, so it's 2 minutes after the hour. We're going to get started. If you have questions at any time, just put them in the chat. And Lori will be monitoring that. And I'm going to share my screen and talk a little bit about the paper year. And I'll take questions after I talk. So just if you have a question, you can type it in the chat or ask it at the end. Okay, that looks okay, right, Lori?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have this little theme for the day about joy. And I think, making makes me happy, and making and giving to somebody else is can double joy. And then making in community is really cool. And that's what the paper year is all about. And we share what we make in the paper year, and you get so many ideas and inspiration from that sharing. So, oh shoot, hang on. For some reason, there we go. Sometimes I have trouble advancing when I'm on Zoom. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the paper year for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then we'll move on to the project. So for those who don't know me, I'm Helen Hebert, and I run a paper making studio high up in Colorado's Rocky Mountains near Vail and Beaver Creek ski resorts in a tiny hamlet called Red Cliff. I drive 20 miles up into the mountains to the studio, which is near this infamous Green Bridge. I hold 2 papermaking master classes each summer for those who want to take a deep dive into papermaking, and an annual retreat in my studio every August. This year, I'm also hosting a paper weaving retreat in Taos, New Mexico next month, July 20th through 26th. There happens to be a spot open if anybody listening wants to inquire about that. There's a link in the chat as well. Many of you also know me as the author of papermaking and papercraft books. The Art of Papercraft features projects you can make with a single sheet of paper, and Weaving with Paper comes out later this fall and is based on an annual online class that I hold every February called Weave Through Winter. We're in the 5th paper year, which I started in January of 2021. This slide shows part of the Paper Year Library, which is a clickable guide into each and every project we've created over the years. You gain immediate access to the entire library of more than 50 projects when you become a member of the Paper Year. And we explore a new technique and project every month. The paper year is broken into quarters. This slide shows the current quarter, which we're just wrapping up. Every 3 months, I design 2 projects, and I invite a guest artist to design a 3rd project. In addition to gaining skills for working with paper, members enjoy being part of a generous, supportive, friendly paper community. We created these swirling flowers in April. I create a video and PDF instructions every month, which Paper Year members get access to in the online classroom. And then participants create their unique variations, choosing their own papers and adapting the structure to fit their ideas and concepts. Members create the projects and share images of their work in an online classroom. This is a private community on a user-friendly teaching platform called Ruzuku. And it is so inspiring for me and participants alike to see what others are creating. We learn about papers we didn't know about, we get ideas for variations on the projects, and we get inspiration. We explored these interlocking cylinders in May. I found the basic structure in a book about teaching paper weaving that was written in 1901 and developed my own paper twist by turning the flat weaving I saw in that book into this cylindrical form. One asset of the Paper Year community is the vast amount of knowledge and experience that exists across the group. Often, one thing leads to another, and members go off on tangents, exploring techniques and sharing what they're doing. This is an example of a tangent from the interlocking cylinder. We're exploring jitterbugs this month, and I love this description which I found online. Technically speaking, the jitterbug is a smoothly transforming cuboctahedron, icosahedron, octahedron, tetrahedron triangle thing. Look it up. You'll find a wide variety of examples of the jitterbug. I learned this from the designer Kelly Anderson, who is our guest artist this month. And not only do our guest artists come up with the monthly project, but they also attend a Zoom session and share how they work with paper with us. Each quarter, we also have a surface design workshop, which is a 2-hour live online workshop. Our most recent workshop was with Madge Evers, who introduced us to cyanotypes. Her book, Printing with the Sun, will be published in May of 2026. All Zoom events are recorded and posted for those who cannot attend live. There are 2 ways to join the Paper Year. All of this is outlined on the registration page. The link for that is in the chat, along with a video about the Paper Year. But in brief, PDF subscribers will receive just that, a PDF with instructions for the monthly project. And all-in subscribers receive the PDF, video instructions, a couple of monthly Zoom meetings, and a discussion forum. At this time of year, you can join and pay by the month. I do offer an annual payment plan in January, and you can switch to that when the time comes. And please note that this is a subscription club, so you'll be billed automatically every month, but you can cancel at any time. And when you cancel your membership, you do lose access to the Paper Year Library. Registration is open now through July 10th. All InPlan members meet on Zoom twice a month, and as I mentioned, we often have a special guest at our monthly Zoom meeting, which will either be a guest artist, a paper supplier. Hiromi Paper will be our next guest supplier on July 12th. Hiromi Paper is based in Santa Monica, California, and specializes in Japanese papers, but they also carry papers from around the world. We also have a 2-hour monthly open studio Zoom session where members can carve out time to complete the monthly project, spend time getting to know each other, and share paper tips, resources, and talk about current paper-related events. Here's a peek at what's coming up during the third quarter. Monthly projects are posted in the classroom on the first Monday of the month. In July, that's a week from this Monday, July 7th. And we're making these reusable book covers. I can't wait to see what kinds of papers participants use. This example features a paper from Cave Paper in Tucson, Arizona, and they have been a guest supplier in the paper year in the past. My hope is that members will be inspired to create variations on the project, so I include a paper twist for each project. So this in July, I'm including specific dimensions for the book jacket, so you can make exactly what I make, but I'll also include this formula for making a cover for any size text block. And this project, by the way, was designed by Bridget O'Malley for my book, Playing with Paper. In August, we'll explore pillow boxes with guest artist Susan Niner Janes. I chose a woven version because of my fondness for paper weaving, but Susan will share several designs and structures with us. We'll have a surface design workshop in August with Nancy Akerley, who will teach us how to make flexagons. These are fun, twistable forms where the image changes when you fold and twist the structure. And in September, we'll delve into pop-ups by creating this pop-up sampler with 7 different styles of pop-up incorporated into the accordion folds on the front and back of the pages. I love white on white, but I know that others will use decorative papers and add their own surface design techniques to the pages. We're a friendly bunch, and the paper year is a welcoming community for all. We're a diverse group in how we come to paper. We have different lifestyles. We're crafters, working at artists. Some of us juggle parenting, others juggle full-time jobs. And this amazing material, paper, ties us together. That's the paper year in a nutshell. And I hope you'll visit the link in the chat, read more, and join us. And here's just another quote I found about joy. Joy does not simply happen to us. We have to choose joy and keep choosing it every day. Okay, so let me stop sharing. Welcome to those of you who joined since I got started. And let me talk about what you need to make the project. Or first, does anybody have any questions about the paper year? Okay, so you can ask questions at any time in the chat, and we're going to make this mini joy banner, and I hope that you'll share what you make. I think we'll have time at the end to do a quick sharing here on Zoom, but if you want to share, my Instagram handle is in the chat. You can share and tag me. I'd love to see what you make, or simply send me an email with a picture. Okay. So let's switch over to my hands, Lori. Okay, awesome. So here's the example you've seen. And let me just show you quickly the tools and materials. So hopefully you had a chance to cut out 3 of these. And I sent an email this morning because I forgot to put on the list, you need something to tuck inside. We're going to fold these up into mini envelopes. And then scissors, craft knife if you have one. Some people will prefer working with the craft knife. And double-sided tape or glue stick. I think I'm going to use both. And a bone folder and a ruler and a pencil. And then I have these little, this was on the list, a couple of squares these are going to be, we're going to sketch out our letters. Some of you will be able to sketch right onto your pieces of paper. So are there any questions about the tools and materials? Okay, I don't see any. Let me just clear things out of the way here. Okay. And just if you're new to working with paper, I'm just going to say that sometimes I cut out a template and trace it onto my paper. And other times I print. You can see I printed right onto my paper. And then I have all the guidelines for cutting. And I'm going to intentionally fold in a certain way so that these printed lines don't show, because that's an issue that comes up sometimes. You don't want to print on your actual paper because the lines will show, but in this case we can hide them. Okay, so we're going to take these three and these are score lines. We're going to score along all of those dashed lines with a bone folder. And I'll do one, and then I'll show you how I'm going to fold it, and then I'll do the next one and the next one. So we're going to do three. And as I said in my supply list, you can create as many of these as you want and spell other words. So I'm going to fold in on those lines. And I'm just pre-folding. I'm not going to do any gluing yet. But folding in is going to hide all those printed lines. So let's do that to all three. And again, if you have any questions, you can type them in the chat. You could also unmute yourself and ask. I have done a lot of projects with mini envelopes. So I have a mini envelope here. And the way I made this template was just taking a mini envelope apart, ungluing the place, you know, how it's seamed together, and tracing it. And I think I adapted a little bit as well. Like I didn't have the rounded corners and things like that. But that's a great way to, it's called reverse engineering. You can take something apart that you like and find out how it's made. I'm using Astrobrite paper, which you can buy. I can buy it here at Walmart. I don't have any art supply stores near me. You can buy it online as well, but it's used for office copying, print, you know, making flyers and things. So it's available in a lot of shops, office supply stores. And it comes in these fun, bright colors, which I think is appropriate for Joy. And I look forward to seeing what papers you're using at the end here. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to do that. And Lori, let's tell them how to do the reaction so I can kind of get an idea of how many people are done.
So
And if you're just watching, that's fine. Yeah.
on the
Go ahead.
bottom of your Zoom screen, there's a little heart icon that underneath it says react. If you click on that, then there are a whole bunch of options, but underneath all of the icons, there's a bar that says raise hand, with the palm opened out, that one stays up until it's physically taken down. That's the one we want. All of the others only stay up for a few seconds and then disappear. So it's hard to get a sense of how many people are ready to move on. So if you use the raised hand one, that's the best one. Thanks.
So when you're done, click that raised hand. And when just over half of you are done, I'm going to move on. But by that time, everyone will have at least one or two ready, and you'll be able to move on and then go back and catch up.
And do you want people who aren't actually working on the project right now to
Yeah.
raise your hand? So we
Yeah,
get
if you're just
that back.
watching, you can raise your hand. Awesome.
We're getting close.
Yeah.
14 would be the point.
Okay, this is the stupid question. The template had two
Yeah.
envelopes, but we
Yeah.
only need one right now.
You need three,
Well, yeah, one of each color.
but two, one of each color. Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
I just did that so you would have
It was very
extra.
efficient
And
use of paper.
yes, so that's a great point. I try to make efficient use of paper, and so you have a whole second set. Also, if you mess up, it's handy to have an extra.
Thank you.
Okay, so and that's not a stupid question. That was a great question.
Yeah, we're
Um,
more than halfway.
okay, so I'm going to move on now, and now we're going to sketch out our letters. And some of you are going to be whizzes at this, and others maybe are less comfortable. So that's why I had you make 3 little pieces of paper. These are intended to be about the full size of the letter, and you can sketch before you cut. But if you want to just sketch on your actual paper and cut, that's fine. And so I'm going to sketch out Joy, and I'm going to use the outer edge when I can. So I'm just going to kind of do this. And these are going to look really interesting being hand drawn. So don't worry about how this looks. So that's going to be my J. I'm just going to round the edges for my O. You might think that you can do this, but once you cut this out, this would fall out. So you just have to have a big O shape. And there are ways to stencil letters, but we're not going to get into that. So don't do a circle inside of a circle. It won't work for the way we're working. And then Y, I'm just going to go like this, like this. And then you can cut these out and use them as a template. So I'm just going to use scissors. I can kind of straighten my lines with just one cut. You can make a few decisions while you're cutting. Like you can change from your pencil drawing if you want. Okay, so there are my letters. I'll give you a couple minutes. You can do the raise hand thing again when you're done. And you can go in, I've got some like little sharp points. I'm just going to round that O a little more. So see, it doesn't look that bad. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, give you a few more minutes. And if you have any questions, no question is too dumb. So part of the reason we're only doing 3 letters is hopefully we'll finish in an hour. Is anybody, I'm curious if anybody's doing something besides Joy right now. You can type it in the chat or unmute yourself. And don't forget to hit raise your hand when you're done, or if you're just watching. And we all work at different paces, so don't feel bad if you are slower. You're gonna learn everything you need to be able to finish up afterwards if you don't finish all of this with us. And the paper in the paper year, the projects are all pre-recorded, and you work on them at your own pace and your own space. And I like to say they take an hour to 2 hours, but it really, it really depends on your working style. All right, I'm gonna wait 1 more minute and then I'm gonna move on. I think we're doing great for time though. I want to leave about 5 to 10 minutes at the end for some sharing.
We're just at the half hour, not quite the half
Mhm.
hour, so yeah, we're good.
Yeah. Okay, so let me see it. If you're on video, let me see it, Jay. Just hold it up. All right. Cool. So different fonts, they're all going to look unique. That's awesome. Okay, so I'm going to move on. So hopefully you have 1 letter. You're going to see how to do this. So now we're going to put the letters onto our forms, and you can cut your letter out on the front or the back. If you do it on the back, you have to have it backwards, right? So I'm going to do it on the front just because I think it's simpler, but I am going to trace it and I'll have my lines on there. So I'll try to cut the lines out, but I might use an eraser afterwards. So the front is with the folds all going down. It's like these are mountain folds, if you know that terminology. So it's folded like this. I'm going to press this down and I'm going to just decide, how do I want to position this? Do I want it straight? Do I want it curved? And then I'm going to hold it in place. I did say you could bring tape if you want to put a little tape to, or maybe even just a loop of tape to hold it down, but it's so small, it's pretty easy to hold. And you know what? That purple is hard to see. I'm going to do it on green so you can see what I'm doing better. And by the way, this is up or down. This is symmetrical, so it doesn't matter which way you have this oriented. And I'm going to just trace the outline. So I'm going to go ahead and trace all of my letters. You just trace what you have. I'm going to rock the O the other way. And then the Y going to be as similar as the J. Okay, and then we're going to cut them out. So just watch for a minute wherever you're at, because everybody's going to be working at a different pace, and hopefully you have one letter. So like a lot of people like to work with the craft knife, so you can just cut along your pencil marks and then erase any lines that you see. And if you only have scissors, you can actually do a little uh, fold and snip to get your scissors in there. You know, you probably did this in school. And then you can carefully cut along those lines. So either method is fine, and just ask any questions if you want. I'm going to use my knife. This is kind of tedious, so I don't use a ruler. I have some straight lines. I could use a ruler, but I just cut freehand, and I go really slow on a curve. And sometimes I stop and start several times on a curve. And I might miss my pencil line a little bit. That's okay. So there's my J. I can't believe nobody has a question. Okay. So really, we usually have questions during these, so feel free to ask. Oh, it's a little harder because it's round. And by the way, in my sample, I used a punch. So there are all kinds of paper punches out there. So I punched the O, and I actually punched when it was folded through both layers. There's my O. And after you're done, if you're using a knife, you'll have your cutout letters that you could do something with as well. If you're using scissors, you're going to destroy the letter a little more. But and again, we're all going to work at different rates, but just so that I finish showing you, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes, and when you're done with all 3 letters, you can raise your hand. Got our first person, but don't rush. Oh, yeah, and when you finish, you can go erase any pencil lines that are showing. Looks kind of fun, just like that. Now I put the size for the little inserts. I need to cut mine, so I'm just going to do that right now. I didn't do that before. And it's not going to be the exact size I told you, but it will be big enough and small enough. This is a origami paper. I think I got it in Korea. I Googled to see if I could find polka dot origami paper, but I couldn't find it online. I would have shared the source if I did. Okay, I'm gonna give you 2 more minutes. So at 40 after the hour, I'm gonna move on. And well, 1 more minute.
Yeah, we're pretty close.
Okay, yeah,
The halfway mark, there were a couple of the thumbs up that disappeared and somebody
right.
typed
Okay,
a
good.
chat. So yeah, we're there.
Right.
We're there.
Okay. Okay, cool. So, um, the next thing we're gonna do, and I just noticed something. Somehow, when I printed it out today, it's bigger than what I had. So I'm not sure whether my printer did that. Um, but check your these are the inserts that we're gonna fold the pocket up next. and then put our insert in. But if yours is like mine, where it's barely covering my cutout, you're going to want to tape it on there in place or glue stick it so that you're sure it covers. So choose what you want to, which paper you want to go behind which letter. And then I'm going to take my glue stick and just put a little glue in the corners and make sure that's covering the letter. And then I'm going to fold up the bottom. So now you need to have this right side up or upside down, or right side up, not upside down. So you need to think about which is the top or the bottom. So I'm going to fold this bottom flap up, and I'm just going to pre-do this before I glue. These can fold left over right, right over left. It doesn't matter which way. But I'm going to put glue along the entire bottom flap. Fold one side in, and then put glue. It's easier to glue where you know the glue needs to be. Here, I don't know exactly how far, but I know I need it all along this edge. So just a line there. I've already got glue down here. If I fold that over, that will close my pocket. And there is my first letter. So I'll just do that again with all three, so you'll see it 3 times. I just thought the O looks more, it looks better with this as the top, so I'm oriented that way. And I'm going to put this paper, just gonna put a little glue on the ends. By the way, we talk about tools and supplies all the time in the paper year too, and this glue stick is acid-free rice glue from Japan, and it's Washi Arts is a supplier in Bellingham, Washington that carries it. You can find this online as well. And I find it to some glue sticks dry out pretty quickly. And this one does not, so I like that about it. I'm just going to check that. And then again, I'll fold up the bottom edge, put glue all along. I'll fold one side over, put glue along the long edge of the other flap, fold that over. And do not glue that top flap. That's gonna be the next step. But my flap is hitting a little, you can pre-crease it, make sure it's gonna fold. Yeah. There's my O. And for the Y, I'm just gonna look and see which one I like. I think I'll use that one. Now fold the bottom up. I'll double check. Yes, that's the bottom. I'll put glue. Fold one flap over. Put glue along that other flap and seal that up. So I've got my little pockets, my pockets of joy. I'll give you a minute to finish up. You can go ahead and raise your hand if you finish.
Helen, can you just say the name of the glue stick again?
Mm. No, it's in Japanese. It's Yamato. Yamato is the company. That's what
Yeah.
you would Google.
Yeah,
Yamato. Like this is hard to read. Yamato rice glue stick. Yeah, you can Google that and find it. And on Washi Art's website, it's under tools. And it comes in a couple of different sizes. I think this is the large. There's actually three different. There's a tiny little lipstick size, and then a medium, and this is the large one.
and it's also available in bigger and smaller sizes.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was typing. I wasn't.
You were trying to find it online.
No,
Yeah.
I was
Oh,
typing in some stuff and not paying
okay.
attention. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to give you another minute, and then we're going to move along and put this on our ribbon or string. And if you're done, why don't you type in the chat what you're using? Ribbon, string, do you have something else? I'd love to know. Ribbon, great. Ribbon, okay, cool. I meant to ask at the beginning and I forgot, what has brought you joy today? Could be anything from you got to sleep in to you saw a beautiful flower on a walk.
That one's easy for me. I live on the Monterey Peninsula and we've been in June gloom for almost a week and it's blue sky day today.
Oh, awesome.
You have blue
Yay.
sky day every day there.
No, Colorado's changing, I would say. We don't.
Not as much blue sky.
Not as much as we used to, but we do today. It's beautiful today. Making this joy banner. Yay. Yes, that's the idea. Okay, I'm going to keep moving just so I finish demonstrating. And so I want to point out in the one that I already had made that when I do glue the flap over, but I leave it, I don't glue where the ribbon is because you might want to slide these, right? So I just want to point that out that I can slide these. I'm actually going to slide. Well, I have enough. I'm going to make a joy banner. So I'm going to use the same ribbon and put the word joy in my second set again. So I'm going to flip these. And now when you do this, you need to make sure it's going to read correctly, right? So I'm going to flip those upside down. You're just going to have to figure out, I'm going to work upside down. Joy. You can do it one at a time also, but you might want to just keep flipping and making sure you're doing it correctly so you don't spell Yaj instead of joy. So I think I said 1/4 inch max for your ribbon or string, and this is 1/2 inch. So I'm just going to put glue, and you want to do this. You would not want to try to thread your ribbon through after you've glued this. That would be difficult. So I'm going to just put glue on the very edge. Sometimes I put scrap paper underneath. I'm not worrying about it. It's just on the very edge. And I'm going to go over my ribbon and it'll just seal that little pocket and I can still slide the ribbon. And then I'm going to check Okay, I've got J. Here's O, so that goes next. Nope. Yeah, my glue didn't want to stick. Gotta make sure I apply pressure long enough. By the way, you could use white glue, just a thin bead of white glue for this as well. It's just a little messier. I like glue stick because it's doesn't get all over the place. And white glue doesn't if you work with it properly. But and then I'll put Y, living dangerously. I think I had it set up correctly. Yes. Okay. So now I've got two sets of joy, and I'll probably cut these apart and have two different ones. Maybe I'll send one to somebody, keep one for myself, hang it as a reminder. But yeah, you could just fold this up really easily and pop it in an envelope. That's something else I love about working with paper is it's flat, and a lot of structures I do are collapsible, so they are easy to store or send. So how is everybody doing? I'm going to give you 3 more minutes, and then those who want to share, do they raise their hand, Lori? Is that the?
Yes,
I can't remember.
yes, and that way I know the order that people raise their hands. So Alicia is ready.
Okay,
I
we're
can-
going to wait 2 more minutes.
All
Let's
right.
just let people
Okay.
work for 2 more minutes, and
All
then
right.
yeah, if you want to share, and you can share whether you're done or not, because I'd love to see the different papers and the font styles that you cut. And I see Alicia holding hers up. It's beautiful. Oh yeah, Tina looks great. But we're going to let you share individually in just a couple of minutes so that we can spotlight you and we'll see you on the big screen. And then again, if you're on Instagram and you want to post and tag me, I'd love to see that. You could also tag the paper year. Joanne's asking if it's possible to print the supply list. I don't provide it as a PDF, but you could take a screenshot and print that. Will that work? Did you see it online? So the supply list is on a link. It's a link on my website that I sent when you registered for this. And I sent it this morning in an email as well. So if you clicked on that and get it on my website and take a screenshot, you can print out the supply list.
You can also do a copy and paste onto a Word document or something and print that.
Right. Yeah, you could copy the text, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You didn't get the email. All right, Joanne, if you go to the top, if you go to the chat, the first link is to the supply list. So click on that and then you'll get there. And you can email me if you have trouble and I'll help you. I'll send it to you. Okay, so we've got 5 minutes left. I want to just do a little sharing. So you've seen mine. So we'll spotlight you if you've raised your hand and we'll see what you've done. And you can unmute yourself too when it's your turn. Lori will call on you.
Okay, Alicia will be first,
Alicia.
and then Sarana. So, here we go.
So Alicia disappeared. Oh, there she is. Okay, wait, I gotta get to speaker view.
I'm unmuted.
Okay,
Joy,
Yeah.
awesome.
we did.
Oh,
we
you
didn't.
figured out how to get the hole back in. You glued it on top?
I'm very anal
That's
that way.
good. Yeah.
I just trimmed my center dropout piece a little bit, but we didn't get the decorative paper thing, so we just used the inside my sister-in-law line. Hers is right here.
Ooh, I like it in
Awesome.
solids.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Yeah, thanks for coming.
Sarana.
Oh,
Oh,
look at that. Beautiful. Look at your papers. They look
Yes.
great together.
Yes, they are thin cardstock,
Uh-huh.
all of them.
Wonderful. Oh, such a fun variety. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
and Anita will be next, and after Anita is Mary Kay.
I am a master procrastinator, so I didn't have the ribbon ready. Ooh, and that's out
Okay.
of focus.
Hold
Sorry.
it still. There you go. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, I mean, they could just be loose letters too. You don't have to make the banner, but they look great. Thank you.
Mary Kay.
Ooh,
Beautiful. See how different they all look? It's really fun.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Love it. Thank you.
And next will be Margaret Paget, in case there's more than one. Okay. Oh,
ooh, nice.
Someone's
Nice.
birthday.
Oh, Liz. Okay.
sweet.
You're gonna send that to Liz?
Yep, yep.
Or give it to Liz?
Yeah.
Fun. It's fun with the three of the same outer color and the different papers inside. Fun variation. Thank you.
Sure.
Anybody else want to share?
Sorry, I'm just going to Callery to see if there's anybody holding anything.
Okay.
Not seeing it. Okay, well, we're 2 minutes to the hour.
Yeah. Well, if anybody wants to hop on last minute, or if you have any questions about the paper year.
Can I tell my idea?
Oh, yeah. Lori has a great idea. Yep.
So my idea is I'm going to make my banner say, "Joy is an act of resistance," which I didn't make up, but I've heard and I love.
Mhm.
So I'm going to use it. I'm going to use rock paper, which is not actually paper. I don't know. Helen knows what it's actually made out
Huh.
of. But it can be outside for quite a long time. So I'm going to use that. It's also got a translucence ability to it. So I'm going to use that and put it on my hang from my front porch. That's my idea. But I don't work well during these things while I'm Zoom.
Well, you're helping. Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I
I love that.
it don't work because we know we saw what happened when I was typing that.
Multitasking.
Yeah.
Right. Well, hey, thanks for coming, everybody. I do see a couple of comments. So I will send the recording probably later today, and that will have the link to the supply list if for some reason you didn't get that. And then Carol Marie shares, "My joy for the day is taking a time out to watch this workshop. The paper year is awesome, and I encourage you all to join." Thanks, Carol Marie. Carol Marie is obviously a member. Yeah, so it's a really fun community, and I look forward to new members that join us. So thanks so much for coming. If you have any last questions, chime in now. And otherwise, we'll sign off. Thank you.
Bye-bye.